congratulations on Let Me Fly. It's very exciting to have this new record out.
We are excited. We definitely are. Thank you. Thank you.
I'd say the first thing we notice about this record, and especially sort of in contrast to all the other records that I think I'm hearing right now, is how uplifting this record really is.
It's funny. I'm not sure we realized at the time, but there's 2 or 3 songs on there which are You Ready? Let Me Fly is positive, aspirational, Best Is Yet to Come. For an old, dramatic songwriter like me, it's come out, I think, very, very up. It's just great.
Yeah, so you guys didn't set out to write something like that, I guess.
I think, the only thing we were conscious of is we didn't want to really bring people down. You don't want to really write stuff that leaves people thinking, what's the point of living, But then it's just a reflection of, I think songs are a reflection of where you're at in your life at any given point.
Well, the interesting thing about them, too, is I see it's sort of a two-sided coin, because relationship songs in one sense, but they all seem to be swinging for something much bigger than just 2 people, I guess, is the takeaway I get. And I didn't know if you saw that as well.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, actually. Like, for example, a song like Wonder, which Andrew sang beautifully. Okay, the chorus goes a bit boy-girl, but actually the song isn't at all boy-girl. Some of the words are quite tough in a sense.
Yeah, I think it's quite real. Relationships, especially if they extended it longer, they go through tests, and in songs you can take snapshots of moments when it's good or when it's not so good. When it's just about this striving to make it work.
And there's a certain beauty in that as well. You don't always want to tell a story that works out, because that's not normal. Normal life has ups and downs, and it's about being able to tell that story that's the hard one just as eloquently in it, or as with such a pop vibe as it is to tell the easy story. So I think Mechanics do that fairly well on this album.
And with these story songs, I mean, I don't know if it sounds like this record was sort of written a bit more interestingly with everyone sort of here and there. Does the stories like that, do they come from general chit-chat? Do you try to come up with the plot and then suss out the music, or how does it work for you guys at this point?
I think each song's different. For example, that song, Don't Know What Came Over Me, that's the phrase just I had in my head. It's a standard phrase, and it's about a guy whose life is happy and fine. He goes out one night and makes a mess of it, does something, misbehaves, wakes in the morning and goes, did I do that, And that phrase, Don't Know What Came Over Me, it's just a nice image, and it goes to show, and the song also doesn't really tell you what happens. His life's probably never going to go back the same again. Things like that in life that happen. You often get to start with a line that tells you where the song should go.
I'll tell you, my favorite out of all of them, too, I think I've landed on Save the World as a personal one. Especially just that line, I'm not trying to save the world, I only want to make us better. What's the story behind this one?
Well, that's kind of it, actually.
Yeah, it's saving the world maybe starts at home. Yeah. It's about saving a relationship, and obviously we use that metaphor as in, how big that thing is to save a relationship, and I guess that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And actually that song had quite a nice story, because we did a version of it initially, and it was a bit slower. It sounded like a big sort of old-fashioned 80s ballad. It didn't get us at all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we kind of sped it up about 8 BPM, which is a big jump, and kind of went a bit more R&B, and it sits really nicely, this now.
With your songwriting, I hear about Mike, you working with Clark Datchler. Tim and Andrew, I mean, how much of you are in these songs within the writing? I mean, how did it work? If were all the songs written just between Mike and Clark and then given to everyone else, or how did that come about?
No, a lot of the Andrews on co-wrote.
Okay.
7 or 8,
I think we're really lucky in that we've had, the first album that we did was 6 years ago, and we did an album called The Road, and we basically just met in the studio doing that, then went on toured. But we've been together now for 6 years, and I think by having 6 years together, we now know what our strengths are, what the ways we want to tell songs. So we have had quite a large piece of this album, Andrew and I, and Mike and Clark, and different collections of people writing on it. But there's, even when maybe we haven't written the song, Mike's had an idea of what he wants for the band, based on the last 6 years of how we've been touring. We've had a lot of really fun times, but you kind of know what you want to hear. Yeah. And Mike says he really knows perfectly what he doesn't like. So there's a lot of what I think he does like on this album. Fingers crossed.
I mean, Tim and I are both songwriters in our own right, and obviously Mike writes, and you get in the studio together. That's kind of what it is. We're in the studio together writing, and that's what this album is.
Yeah, and has it been any challenge for you guys to interpret the older cuts when you go out live?
It's about vibe, I think. It's sometimes we do things a little bit broken down, like acoustically. We'll do a little acoustic set, and so some of those songs that might be more intimate on the album will go into that pocket. But I think things have to live live, and you don't want to repeat exactly what's on the album live because that sounds a bit, I don't know, it sounds a bit suspect when it sounds exactly like the album.
Right.
I think Tim would agree that initially when we started working with the Mechanics, obviously it was like, it's a daunting thing because you're working with a band that already has a legacy with two other singers, Paul Young, the late great Paul Young, and of course Paul Carrot, and we had to find our place in it, and that's kind of, it took a while, and we're here now. You see, we feel like part of it, really.
There was a great moment actually when we first rehearsing for live, and we went to sing "Living Is" for the first time. I knew it'd be good. But Andrew kind of steamed in. But I was kind of worried, it's a classic song,
Yeah.
At the end of it, I was just like, wow. I mean, he made it his own, which is nice. They don't do it the same as before. But the very first time I sang it was like, this is good. No problem here, chaps.
There's very few people who could take on that role and make it their own. And it's a real honor every night to hear Andrew sing that tune. And it's a great song.
Yeah, it is a great song.
Likewise, Tim.
And
Honor, man.
There's an announcement on this record, the best is yet to come. I mean, that's always the very bold statement, but I believe it when you guys say it, so.
Oh, thanks a lot. Well, yeah, and you can dance to that song. We want to do things that we like up songs. We can't deny it, unfortunately.
And that's also about, not just wanting to live off past glory. You're living and creating new stuff, and it's about the new stuff as well. And I think that's what it keeps us alive, is striving and keeping to grow.
Perfect sentiment right there, and probably a nice space to wrap up on as I look at the clock here. But thank you for the talk, fellas. I really love and Let Me Fly, and we'll look forward to seeing you out there this year.
Thanks very much.
Thanks. I appreciate you listening to the album.
All right, take care.
Okay, cheers.
Bye.